The Rock's promo definitely shed a lot of light on this storyline that Cody, in my humble opinion, has left dark on purpose. Now, for those that have seen my previous videos, you guys know I am not fans of Cody. I am not a big fan of Cody. I was at one time, but I'm not now. And this is not anything to bash Cody, but this is something that I think a lot of his fans are kind of sort of putting blinders on purpose when it comes to this. There's a few flags out there that I don't think a lot of fans are noticing about Cody Rhodes as a character that I think is going to come to light later. And honestly, I'm waiting for it because it makes this story way more interesting than it would just be his story. And I'm going to get into that, as well as the fact that I'm going to get into the fact that he had another option. Now, all of his fans are in an uproar because of the fact that they believe that The Rock stole his story away. He never had a story to begin with. Why? Because it was his father's story, which is odd to me because the main reason why he left the WWE in the first place was because he wanted to be his own man. He wanted to get out of his father's shadow. He wanted to create his own story with his own name. And he did at AEW. But the reason why he left is because he wasn't able to become the man fast enough. He wanted to be that guy. He wanted to be in the same position as Tony Khan. Well, he couldn't get what he wanted, so he left. He just took his ball and left. Went right back to WWE and became the guy he never wanted to be, in his father's shadow. This was never his story to begin with. This was always Dusty's. And Dusty could never fulfill that. And I think Dusty probably would have been satisfied with that. I don't know the guy. I'm just making assumptions. But I'm going to say that the title that his father never won no longer exists. He doesn't have a reason to fight for that title because that title is no more. Now, people are like, well, the heart of the title's still there. No, it's gone. It's gone. It's renamed. It is something brand spanking new. This has nothing to do with his story because there was none. This has everything to do with the fact that Roman Reigns humiliated him at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. He outsmarted him. Cody Rhodes came in probably on cloud nine, extremely cocky with his head held high, thinking that nothing can stop him. He beat Seth Rollins not once, but twice. The second time was even more humiliating. He beat Seth Rollins with a torn pec. A torn pec, which in my humble opinion should put anybody that has a torn pec should put him down for the count. He ended up beating Seth Rollins with a torn pec. And somehow Seth Rollins wants to be on his side. I don't understand the logic in that. But anyway, the fact is that he was on cloud nine. No one can touch him. Kept having win after win after win. Came in at number 30 for last year. Came in at number 30 last year, beating Gunther when he came in number 1, and Gunther was the one that lasted the most. Ended up beating him to go to the Rumble. Finally got to the Rumble and lost to Roman Reigns. And I'm not gonna lie, it really did deflate everybody's hopes. It deflated the crowd that night. It's probably one of the worst endings that people can remember because he should have won. He should have won. It should have been over. They would have separated the belts, brought one belt back to SmackDown. The title that he wanted, he would have kept, and then gave the other belt back to SmackDown. He would have had the title that his dad never had, and it would have been over. But what did they decide to do? Roman won. He won in the dirtiest of ways. He won with the help of Solo Sikoa, and it humiliated him. And now he went back to win the Rumble for a second time, beating CM Punk. Even though in my humble opinion, it probably would have been Punk if Punk didn't get injured. But before all that, Cody Rhodes did not want Seth Rollins' title after Roman won when they created the World Heavyweight title. And it looked like the belt that his father never had. He said he didn't want it because it was a hand-me-down. He didn't want it because it was not the real thing. Even though Seth Rollins did everything he could to make that a workhorse title, and the promo that he had with Cody Rhodes made sense, and the crowd was coming close to being on his side because those that were fans of Dusty knew how much of a hardworking man he was. Everything that Seth Rollins said in his promo represented everything that Dusty Rhodes stood for. So if he honestly had a match with Seth Rollins, I don't think anybody would have been mad. And that would have been his choice. Now, everybody wanted Roman because, oh, he had a choice. He had a choice to go after Roman. I'm like, no. He had a choice to go after a top title. They are top titles on different brands. He had a choice. The choice that represented his father, which he claims is what he's going after, his father's legacy, his father's story, or making it his story, everything that Seth is doing represents his dad, or the belt that he couldn't get because the man that beat him humiliated him. This has nothing to do with his story at all. This has everything to do with revenge. But he is very passive about it. He is pandering to the crowd, making them believe that he really wants to do this for his dad when he never did. There are so many signs pointing to this guy becoming heel, at least to me, or at least duping the crowd to get what he wants. Because everything that represents his father is what Seth is holding, and he doesn't want that. He wants what Roman's got. And then here comes The Rock. Somehow The Rock becomes a villain. Don't know, because this was a match that everybody's wanted for years, and when he showed up in San Diego, people cheered. People cheered. They were happy to see him. They were happy to see The Rock. Rock chants everywhere. And then you went to Vegas for the whole conference they had. In my humble opinion, it was just another episode of Raw and SmackDown. But the fact is, it was split. Because there were some people that wanted to see something different instead of something that they should have seen last year. Him winning last year. It didn't happen. So why see it again? To be honest with you, this was never about his dad. This was always about him getting revenge on the man who humiliated him. And he's using the fans to do it. And the fans are falling for it. Hook, line, and sinker. If anyone has not listened to The Rock's promo on Instagram Live, listen to it. Because it sheds some light on a lot of things. The fact that he had a conversation with The Rock. The fact that this was always the plan for The Rock to return to face Roman. The fact that he honestly said that he was going to step down and handle his story later, even though it was never his to begin with. He agreed. We've seen it. It was right there. Even though they're trying to make everybody feel like that episode of SmackDown never existed. Oh, that talk never existed. It honestly did. He kind of reneged his whole deal with the Rock just to make the fans happy. Even though the fans are literally blind to this whole thing. I don't know why. But honestly, guys, this was never about his dad. There was never a story to tell. And if there was a story to tell, he surely ignored it when it came to Seth Rollins. And not to mention, it makes Seth Rollins look worse. And that's going to be another video at another time. But this was never about Dusty Rhodes. This was always about Cody succeeding where his father couldn't. Getting ahead of his dad. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he never loved his father. He loved his father. But he wanted to exceed him. He wanted to be the top dog. He wanted to be even higher than his father. This is what it's all about. He never had a story to begin with. He wanted to use his dad's story to promote himself. And he's using the fans to do it. And they fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts about all this. Do you honestly believe that this is really Cody's story? Or is he using his father's story to promote himself, to eclipse his dad? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like what I do, or if you like what I say, by all means subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.